Creative director is a person, generally, they oversee the creative product that is out of WLOX, especially on an advertising side. Being the creative director is my favorite job. I mean, it's not always a walk in the park, but I did like doing promotions, though, because I was completely in charge of how the station was marketed and the words that are used, the phrases that are said. I'm glad to be in creative field.
Welcome to the Bottled Up Podcast. On this episode, we're excited to have Todd Durbin, the advertising award-winning creative director of WLOX TV in Biloxi, Mississippi. Todd has been with WLOX for 33 years, and he'll be sharing his path to his job, his experience in producing ads with local companies, his work making local documentaries, and we will talk about his reputation as a local hired gun musician. Lastly, we'll also discuss the business-to-business advertising that WLOX has done with Allen Beverages, and why it's a great way for other local businesses to get marketing and brand exposure. Todd, thank you for coming on.
I'm glad to be here.
So, Todd, explain to the audience what your title is and kind of what your responsibilities with WLOX are.
At WLOX TV, I am the creative director. Creative director is a person generally kind of associated with like an advertising agency. They oversee the creative product that is out of WLOX, especially on an advertising side.
Yes, and if you've seen any local ads done, I know that Todd has done a bunch for Allen Beverages. But if you've seen any local ads on WLOX or even airing anywhere else, it was probably Todd's hand in those ads. I know we've won multiple years in a row. We've won awards that for all the ads that Todd has done for us, and so he's a what are those awards called? The advertising award, the ADDYs?
Yeah, the ADDY Awards. Yes.
Yep. So he's a multi-year ADDY winner.
Yeah, and we can't leave Flip, my cohort who goes out and shoots all of those out of that. He's a really, really good videographer.
Yes, Flip is the man. He's good. He's very good as well. And between Todd and Flip together, the products that they produce on a local basis, I mean, I think that people are very surprised to know that it's done through the way that we do it. I mean, the way that the finished product looks, Todd, in my opinion, I mean, it's just getting better and better as we've done them along. So I want to go kind of back to and talk about you a little bit. So Todd, where did you grow up? Where were you born? And let's talk about that a little bit.
I was born and raised in Biloxi. I went to school in Biloxi. Eventually I went to college over at USA in Mobile, South Alabama.
What'd you major in over there?
I majored in communications. At that time, there wasn't really a broadcast program or a film program or anything like that. It was just straight up communications. So I thought that would be kind of interesting to explore. So I did that.
So when you majored in communications, what was the mindset behind wanting to do that? What was your final result of what you wanted to do? Did you always want to kind of be in filmmaking or making projects, that kind of thing?
No, really, I just figured that there would be some sort of jobs in the communication field, not really knowing. I wasn't a kid that had a camera and was always making films. I was more interested in playing the guitar when I was growing
I know that
up.
you're very proficient when it comes to playing music. How many bands are you currently in now, a member of?
Well, I don't play in bands per se. I play with people who call me and ask me to play, and if I feel like it, and if I feel like there's something I can add to them, I'll go play with them. But I play with Miles Sharp. I play with Mark Slogel. I play with, sometimes I'll fill in with a band in Bay St. Louis called the BSL Trio. I've played with a lot of people around town.
So you're kind of like
people ask.
You're kind of like a hired gun when it comes to that.
Hired gun. Yes, hired gun. That's what I do. And I'll play bass or guitar.
Okay. So growing up, you said that you were more interested in playing instruments and playing guitar. And so when you were at communications at Southern Alabama, you graduate. What happens after that?
Funny story. I was walking down the hall in the communications area over there one day, and I saw this little 3x5 index card pinned to the wall that said, "Internship available, WLOX. Call Roger Garrett," who was WLOX's longtime operations manager. So I figured, oh, okay, I'll call him. And I grew up really just right down the road from WLOX. And I called him and another guy over there who was also from Biloxi called him. So we both came over here and did an internship during the summer. And we're talking, this is 33 years ago now. And at the end of that internship, one of us got hired and one of us didn't. And I happened to be the one that got hired. And
I didn't realize you. So you basically have worked at the same place your whole life.
Close. I worked when I first started working at WLOX. I worked in kind of almost all the departments, but in our operations department at that time, we would do cameras for the news or sign on up in master control and monitor the air product and the commercials that were being aired. But then I became a assistant news producer and eventually a news producer. Part of that job was to write promos, which is kind of an inside term for advertising copy for a show for the next day. And I thought, I kind of like this kind of writing style, and I like producing these promos. So there was a job open in our promotion department. So I eventually got to be a promotion producer, and then wound up as the promotion manager, and eventually they changed it to marketing manager. So I did that for about 18 years.
Okay. Wow.
So I left for about 5 or 6 years, and I went to Beau Rivage to help out in their advertising department. And that was a great, great experience. It was a whole new world.
How much? Let me ask you this. Okay, so what I'm trying to understand is how WLOX, because it's more than just a news organization or because there's different wings, like you said, like there's marketing, there's promos for independent customers. So have they always produced spots for local businesses? Has that always been a thing, or is that something that it has kind of fleshed itself out naturally throughout the years?
Yes, WLOX, having been broadcasting here to South Mississippi since 1962, has always produced local advertising for local businesses. And yes, there's many different departments in a TV station. People listening to this will be familiar with our news department, but there's the promotions department, the advertising department. There's many different aspects to the sales department, lots of aspects to a television station.
Do television stations exist that do not do what you guys do as far as locally? I mean, do they have television stations where all we're going to do is we're just going to read the news and then sell ad time?
Yes, there are those kind of television stations, and they're generally in bigger markets where there are independent or large independent advertising agencies would handle the type of in-house. We're kind of like an in-house agency.
Yeah, y'all are.
So we, WLOX, having been the only game in town for a long time, kind of had to develop its own internal advertising.
Yeah, you have to be a one-stop shop kind of, because the footprint that you guys cover, there's not a whole lot of independent, ad agencies down here that are going to have a production wing, you know what I mean, where you can go from an idea to the finished product beginning to end.
Right, all in-house. There are boutique advertising agencies that consist of, one or two people that meet with clients and will buy advertising and just help a business realize their vision. But at WLOX, we do all of that in-house. And part of my job is to help businesses realize their vision.
Yeah, you do a really good job at that, Todd, by the way. I remember the initial meeting we had, I think it was like either 2017, end of 2017, beginning of 2018, where we decided that, I had an idea that I've been thinking of, and we came together and had a kind of a creative powwow, and I told you what I wanted to do, and you kind of got it right away, and you kind of understood. And utilize a term I didn't even know before, was business to business advertising. So that was the incarnation of our B2B ads that we run with you guys and you guys create for us. And as far as a best practice is concerned from my industry, I think we set the tone and created a best practice in a certain segment of our business with the restaurant industry down here that, is next level. And I think the performance that we get out of the ads that you guys produce is phenomenal. And the awards for those ads will speak for themselves. Can you tell me how many awards we've won from those ads since that time? Do you know offhand?
There's quite a few, maybe 10 of them sitting on my desk, or there's a lot. Yeah. And I'll tell you, first of all, anybody listening to this can see those on the Allen Beverages website. But those are so fun to do because we get to go all over the coast, up and down, talk to restaurant owners and managers, interview people that are eating there, just look at their food, taste their food. It's really a fun project to work on.
What would you say would be like the main dialogue that the restaurant owner is giving you? Because I know that the reason why we're doing it is, to number one, support the restaurant, because I know that restaurants' budgets are tight, and a lot of times there's not a whole huge marketing budget to film a spot to promote their restaurant. But it's also to kind of discuss the relationship between Allen Beverages and that restaurant, and how we coexist and do business and partner with one another. So I think my question is what is the overarching feeling about when you get to a business owner about, number one, us and our performance, and number two, just partnering with us and us filming a spot for them?
Well, first of all, they love that because, as you say, a lot of these restaurants just don't have the budget or the time to go through and produce have a spot produced. The way it works when you get there and you're setting up the camera and the lights and miking people, and you're chit-chatting beforehand
right.
about what the interview is going to happen. And to a person, they always are talking about, I give them the questions that we're going to do. To a person that they always say that they know exactly what they're going to say, that they believe in what they're saying. They're not just doing it because the camera is on and somebody's asking them questions. They actually believe that Allen.
You're not leading them, right?
No, I don't lead them at all. They're free to say whatever they want, and they do say whatever they want, and they just love the service from Allen Beverages. And so many times when we turn off the camera and it's chit chat time, they say, I said all that, but I truly believe it. They are. They do service us well, and it is less expensive for us, and we don't have to call out of state. We're not just a number.
Right.
To these guys who are local.
Yeah. And I think the whole reason why we're trying, and this as well as I do, Todd, working together these years and doing all these spots for businesses is we need to, we're trying to gain exposure on the local side of what we do. And the fact that, you're dealing with a family, the fact that you're dealing with a local business that, lives here, eats here, works here, that kind of thing. And our customers are special to us. They mean a lot to us, and we don't just say that because we want to get more customers. Of course, that's the reason why we want to do this, is we want to spread the word to any restaurant on the coast that wants to have what we're giving everybody. But we actually mean it, and we stand behind it, and we back it up. And I think that you asking them these questions and gaining this exposure it's probably the most, I'm trying to, symbiotic advertising spot that you can do, because it not only is it promoting their business and it's letting people know that they exist and giving them previews of their food, but it also is cross promotion with us and showing that, you know, you can be successful with Pepsi products and Allen beverages as well.
Right. It is, I'd say, probably 2/3 a spot for their restaurant, and then you think it's a spot for their restaurant, and it takes a turn,
Right.
because it's a spot for both of you. And it's funny, like I was saying before, where before we start recording, they'll give me great sound bites, I guess. And I'm like, wait, hold on. Wait till we start.
Can you say that again,
turn
please?
on the camera. Yeah, right. Yeah, and it's funny. That happens often.
You and Flip do a great job, and we really appreciate the countless ads that you've done for us. And like Todd said, if y'all would like to see what we're talking about, you can go to our website and click on the video tab, and there's all the ones that we've done over the years for all the customers. And we pay to produce them, we pay to promote them, we use our ad money to run them. So it's at no cost to the customer. And I think that it's a great award-winning platform. I wanted to ask you, over the years that you've been doing this with WLOX, do you have any like standout moments or favorite projects that you've worked on besides these B2B ads? Do you have any memorable moments or fun moments that you would want to share?
I do. I remember after Hurricane Katrina, we produced a documentary called Katrina, South Mississippi's Story. It was a 2-hour documentary that I was the producer on, the co-editor, and the primary writer on, and that was an interesting project to do.
I can imagine. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, after Katrina, there really wasn't a lot of promotion that needed to be done for the station, so I was somebody who watched all of the footage that was coming in and kind of categorized it and cataloged it and saved it. So I more than even our news department knew about all the footage that we had in-house. And it wasn't unprecedented to do a documentary. We had done those kind of things after Hurricane Elena, and later after Camille, we had done some things. So I knew with a storm of that magnitude, we would probably be doing that. So I just took it on myself to start writing it, having a news background, and wound up producing that. Another memorable project, I used to produce Gulf Coast Idol down at IP, which is a feeder project for American Idol, where we would invite talent to come down and perform, and I got judges, and it was like a local version of American Idol. We did that several years until COVID. I'm hoping that we'll be able to bring it back.
Has there been any discussions about bringing that back?
I believe each affiliate is given a golden ticket to where they can do with it what they want, and a golden ticket, if somebody has it, allows you to bypass the lines at general American Idol auditions and go straight to the producers.
Got it. So if you win down here, you get the golden ticket to go on the national show.
Yes.
Oh, wow. And, okay. So did you ever, speaking of theater stuff, did you ever do any theater or anything like that?
I was in the pit, or the musicians area of several theaters. I used to do a lot with Lynn Meadows Discovery Center when they used to do plays. I really haven't done much with them lately, but I did Mamma Mia. I think I played guitar in that, and bass or guitar, and Always Patsy Cline a couple of times. I haven't done it much lately.
I know I was in theater in high school. And I didn't really, I had some parts in a couple of stuff, but mainly my job was on the staff side where, music, lighting, set building, that kind of thing. That was mainly where I shined when it came to that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I was listening to Mr. Tim up in Wiggins saying that he was going to develop
He's
local theater up
he's gonna
there.
try to do a Wiggins local theater up there.
Yeah, and that's I really applaud him for doing that.
I agree. Mr. Tim's a sweet man. He's a good dude. He really, really cares about that restaurant a lot.
It's a neat place. It's a fun place.
It really is. One question I wanted to get into the music a little bit. When did you start playing music, Todd?
I started playing music when I was probably around 7, and really I'm a guitar player or a bass player, but the first thing I started playing was drums. I think my grandmother got me a drum set, and my dad kind of showed me how to play something easy on the drums. If I recall that Yellow Submarine, in the town, boom, boom, when I was born, boom, 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 it's something easy like that.
Right.
So,
With the kick drums is, I play the drums a little bit too. So I kind of know. I don't play anything else. I used to play a little bit of piano, but I'd have to really, really practice to get back to where I was. But so you got a drum kit first when you were a kid. Normally parents, when a drum kit shows up and you have a 7 or 8-year-old, that's just a nightmare. It's a nightmare for them.
Right.
Like you have that aunt who doesn't live there who gives you a drum set and then leaves, and the parents just want to kill them.
Right.
So you were encouraged as a child to play music.
I was, and then my dad had an acoustic guitar and an electric guitar, and a Fender acoustic guitar. And he, at 7 years old, he tried to show me some chords like a C chord or a D chord, and I'm sitting there thinking, golly, how does anybody do this?
Right.
Your hands are a lot smaller when you're 7 years old, and the strings seem a lot heavier, and you're like, golly. And but then somehow I started playing his electric guitar, and I'm like, okay, now it's on, even though it's still a little hard and the strings seems like baling wire. I eventually learned how to do it. And
you play any piano at all?
I do. I actually took piano lessons when Werlines was at the Edgewater Mall from a lady named Princess White Cloud.
Wow.
I mean, she was a true Native American.
I would imagine so. I didn't think she was going to be blonde hair, blue eyed.
No, she actually truly wore a headpiece and all that. But in fairness, I didn't really learn that much from any of the piano lessons I took. What I really learned piano is just sitting there by myself and goofing around with the piano.
Yeah,
I can play it very well.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway.
You know where the notes are. Right.
And the chords. I know how to shape the chords and all that.
Right. That's kind of what I did is they used to, before the internet was really, really big, when I was probably, it was big, but it wasn't what it is now. I would get free sheet music to songs that I liked. And you would get the sample and it would be like just the first 2 pages. Mm-hmm. So I knew how to play the beginning of like 15 songs. Now, if you wanted to talk about doing the whole song, I'm not your guy. So I knew enough to where music. Yes, I knew where the notes were. I couldn't read fast, but I was the guy who could, if a piano was at a high school party, I could pique people's interest just enough to where I would say, no, I'm not, I don't want to play anymore. That kind of thing.
Yeah. I'll play the first part that I know, and then I'm going to play it cool.
Yeah. But I do enjoy music a lot. I think that music is something that if I've had people, or I've seen things on, social media that's like, you got to give up one thing And music is one of those things. I don't think I could ever give up music, ever.
I couldn't either. For the long time when I was growing up, my mom got me a 4-track recorder, so I would sit in my room and write songs and play songs because I had a piano and I had a guitar and I had a bass.
So you were mixing your own stuff in your bedroom.
Yeah, and for the longest time I didn't even play out. I just played in my bedroom.
Do you remember the first time you ever played in front of like a crowd of strangers?
Believe it or not, I believe it was either right before or right after Hurricane Katrina.
Oh wow, so you really didn't play in front of people.
Right.
Were you scared?
Now I do it all the time because I feel like I know enough about the guitar or the bass to be able to handle whatever's thrown at me.
Well,
really wasn't scared. And I'm not ever scared now. There's only one time that I've ever had stage fright, and it was this Christmas show at the Sanger Theater downtown Biloxi.
Yep.
And Rebecca Powers, who used to work here at WLOX, used to be a long-time anchor, and I've known her for a long time. In fact, I taught her how to play guitar. She roped me into playing Frosty the Snowman.
Oh, Lord.
At that. And the Sanger Theater, I mean, there's a lot of people there. So I remember standing there in the wings, waiting to go on, and it's just going to be me and her. She's going to sing, and I'm going to sit on a stool and play Frosty the Snowman. I remember sitting there in the wings, and my mouth starts getting dry, and my heart is beating. And, they call us out, and I sit on the stool. And Frosty the Snowman is kind of a interesting song in that those older songs, it's like chord.
Yeah.
Like every bar is a different chord, and they're all very similar, especially when you go to the bridge. So I'm really nervous, and I got through it, but that's really the only time I can recall having stage fright.
That's interesting, though, is that to not have stage fright is interesting to me because I don't, anytime I have to talk in front of a group of people, it does get easier and easier as you do it. But anytime I have to talk in front of a group of people, I get nervous. And I think that the reason why it is that, you don't want to mess up. I think why that's kind of what it all stems from is that you hope that it goes well and you want it to go well. So
exactly.
You not having stage fright is interesting to me.
Yeah, I mean, I've played the Gulfport Music Festival whenever they used to do that a couple of times.
They need to bring that back.
Right. I think that would be really fun down at Jones Park.
Yes.
I've done a Tom Petty show down at Mary C. Don't get nervous just that one time because it's just me and the light shining in your eyes. Yeah.
Do you think that your music background has helped you at all with your being the creative director for WLOX?
I think so because it teaches you how to approach different problems from a logistic way and how to be organized. Especially when you record, you want to be organized. So when you produce television advertising, a producer is the one responsible and is the one that is in charge. And so you have to have a certain kind of demeanor, and you have to have a certain kind of organizational skill. Oftentimes, when I'm listening to an interview or doing an interview, I'm producing in my head about how I'm going to cut this together. And if I'm not getting what I believe that I need, that leads me to ask certain other questions.
Yeah, you're basically free-handing the edit, right? Like
in my head, yeah.
In your head, yeah.
Just like it's the same as if I'm playing with somebody and they call a song and it's not in the key that I generally know it in my head on the fly, I'm having to adjust the
structure.
The key. Yeah, how to play that.
I see exactly what you mean. So you look at it as it keeps you have the ability to be on your toes when it comes to the production of a spot, the same way that you have to be on your toes whenever you're playing live music and someone's playing a song.
Right, and it's just like people, radio announcers. People I've found through my time of working in broadcast, people who have radio backgrounds are much better at live TV than people who just are out of college. The people who have been through radio, they can think on their feet.
Yeah, it's a muscle, man. I think that's a muscle that you have to. The only way to do it is to get better at it is to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let me ask you a little bit about what the station and doing advertising for local businesses. You know, have you seen a shift and change over the last 5 years as far as, I don't think people understand how important it is to get your marketing message out there. And I know that with digital media and social media and all that kind of stuff now, it's a lot easier to do. But I was wondering if you could kind of give some tips to a customer if they're looking and saying, listen, you know, I want to advertise, I want to do a commercial, either whether it be just a commercial or a YouTube ad or anything like that. There's so many different ways and bumper ads and things like that customers can do. What are some tips that you would recommend for a person to get an ad message out there with you guys?
The first thing I would recommend is just simply to contact WLOX. There's so many advertising avenues, like you just mentioned, whether it's digital, whether it's over the top, which means your streaming services, broadcast over the air. Finding out the avenue, you know, there's just so many ways. The second thing is to know what your message is. Or at least talk to us and let's develop what you want your message to be.
Right.
And generally people have an advertising budget. So those three things are very important. It's finding out the avenue of advertising you want to do, you know, and just talking to us about that.
Well, you're really good about listening. You especially are really good about listening to what we're trying to accomplish and then honing in on that with the edit and the shoot and everything. So if anybody is interested in trying to promote your business, you know, I would highly recommend Todd and WLOX because they've really knocked it out of the park for us, at least, with these ads that we've been doing. So, hey, Todd, if anyone listening or any business out there is listening and they want to get in touch with you and your team at WLOX to do some advertising, how would they reach you?
They can call 896-1313. That is our offices here in Biloxi. Or they can also go to WLOX.com and see examples of commercials that we do and the different price points that different commercials come in.
Yep. Okay. Well, I think I would recommend you guys to anybody out there who is looking to, you know, even if it's, you know, just digital advertising or anything they can help with everything. So they sure do help us out a lot. So once again, Todd, I really appreciate your time and coming on the Bottled Up podcast, man. I appreciate all the work that you do for me and my company and being such a good partner with us and helping out with fun projects and things. We have some stuff in the works coming up. The public will get to see probably later on down the line. But once again, thanks for coming on, and I really appreciate all the help.
Glad to. Love the podcast, and I love Allen Beverages, as our commercials say.
Thank you, Todd. Trust me, Todd Durbin and his advertising team at WLOX are great to work with. We have had so much success and fun making the Allen Beverages commercial and TV ad work over the years. If you want to advertise your business, Todd and his team are a great option. With a wide variety of advertising avenues from digital media to broadcast over the air, they can help you get your message out there. As Todd mentioned, before you talk with them, it is important to know what media avenues you might want to use, have an idea of what your message needs to be, and nail down a specific advertising budget. So, to learn more about the award-winning advertising and creative commercial services they offer, check them out at WLOX.com. Until next time, thanks for listening. Thanks for listening to the Bottled Up Podcast. Want us to deliver this show into your email inbox as they drop? Want to tell us about how you like the show? Or you want to tell us about a Gulf Coast restaurant or bar you would like us to spotlight in upcoming episodes? Email Morgan at mwheeler, WHEELER, at abevinc.com. That's ABEVINC.com. Want to know more about Allen Beverages and how we work with our clients, partners, and vendors? Check out allenbeverages.com. This show was edited and produced by Johnny Gwynn and Deep Fried Studios.